Hey, it is your girl B.Reel, and I thank you so much for joining me for another moment. In the meantime, I pray that your day has gotten off to an amazing start, and if it has not, it's okay. You still got some more time left in the day for everything to become exactly what you're hoping it's going to be. Yes, you made it to Friday. If you're listening to it on the actual day that it's posted, you made it to Friday, and I am excited for you. If yay, you made it to the weekend. If you got a fun weekend planned, then I'm super excited for you. I hope that that turns out to be everything that you have planned it to be. If you're going to be working and just getting stuff done this weekend, then I hope that you will find ease and, just a little chill moment throughout the bustle of the work that you got to get done. So, yes, happy Friday. And yeah, happy Friday. I was thinking about not doing an episode today. I was gonna just start back on Monday. But I did have something that I definitely wanted to share. I was just sitting here and I was thinking, and it's definitely we're keeping along the lines of our last podcast episode. We're talking about the Egyptians pursuing the Israelites, and the Israelites eventually crossing the Red Sea. And so, as I was saying, like, that story, it has so many amazing little nuggets in it, and I've written down so many notes about it. And I was thinking, let's just start fresh on Monday, because I felt like Wednesday's episode really needs to just kind of sit for a second and just like really let that get, soaked in a little bit. And so I hope that you enjoyed that episode. If you haven't listened to that one, definitely go back and listen to the last episode entitled "We Are Not the Same." I think that's something that we all should just really take in and really just kind of, remember that as we progress within this new year of 2020, just knowing everybody's talking about they got clear vision this year and they're moving forward toward that vision and this and that. And in moving forward toward your vision and even writing down your vision and making it plain and all of that, you have to be sure and you have to be clear on one thing, that you're not the same as everybody else. And even when people, want to make you out to be the same as them, they want to act like y'all on the same level, the truth is y'all just not. So I believe that in going forward with the year, we have to really take in the fact that no, we're not the same. And it don't mean you got to get cocky or anything like that. But I believe dearly that the Father just wanted us to get our confidence back up in knowing that, there is a difference when you are a believer of God. There is a difference for you when you live for Him. There is a difference when you love the way He has instructed you to love. There is a difference when He has anointed you to do something. So don't allow people to make you feel that you're the same as them all the time, because it's just not quite. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and listen to that episode, definitely let me, definitely go back and listen to it, and then let me know your thoughts about it. I heard a lot of feedback on it, and I was kind of like, okay, yeah, that's where I want y'all at. That's what we need to be. Confidence all the way up in 2020, because I believe that some cool things really will happen this year. So, and of course, when I did the episode, I told y'all that it was too normal of me. It would have been too normal of me to start at the beginning of the story. So, I got right to the big part of the story first. But I want to go back now and just really tell you something simple today, but I believe that it will be monumental as we move forward within the year. And so, of course, we're in Exodus 14, and we'll be there for a minute, unless otherwise noted. But it's very simple. Verse 1 of Exodus 14, it just says, and let me pull it up. I was going to try to quote it. I mean, it's really 6 words, but I didn't want to not say it right. But Exodus 14:1, it says, "Then the Lord said to Moses," and God spoke to me with that one verse, and it's kind of like, what? But then the Lord said to Moses, that is Exodus 14 and verse 1. And in what I want to explain today, or what I hope that you guys will take away at the end of this episode, is knowing that the Lord will always speak. The Lord will always speak to you. Like I said, this was the story where Moses had to go to Egypt and say, hey, God said, let my people go. So Moses has been on this whole assignment. If you go back a lot of verses, then you'll see that Moses was, first of all, afraid to even complete this assignment because he felt that he was inadequate. And Moses is, like so many of us, we hear a word from God, we hear an assignment, and it's hard to obey because it's just like, God, I'm not equipped for this. I'm not qualified for this. I don't speak well. I don't have a social media following. Don't nobody even know me in this area. I don't have money for this. Like, this is nowhere in my budget. I don't even have a budget because how can I have a budget when I ain't got no money? Like, we have so many reasons why it seems impossible to do the thing that God is requiring of us to do. And so what God told him, back, in like some more chapters, maybe in another book, I think it was Exodus, but what he tells them is just like, like, I'll speak for you, or, and even more so, he sent him like, I'm gonna have somebody speak for you, like, because Moses was like, I can't even talk, so, but what I really was just gaining when I read this verse, then the Lord said to Moses, is that, even at the beginning of all of this, when Moses was afraid to go about this journey, like, now they're knee deep in there because the Israelites have already escaped. They have fled from Egypt. So God and Moses, they are literally knee deep in this assignment that God has given to Moses a while back. And what I noticed is that God was still keeping his promise. God was still doing what he said he would do. He was still speaking to Moses. And God just wanted me to know for myself, and even for you guys, like, that he will always speak. And sometimes we find ourselves in situations that's just kind of like, I don't know what's next. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do what you're instructing me to do. I literally don't know what to do. And a lot of times the frustration is in the fact that we're trying to figure out the next move on our own. But if we would still ourselves enough, if we would silence our minds enough to just really hear the Father, oh my Lord, yeah, we would just allow ourselves to hear from the Father, then he's always going to tell us something. Even if we don't understand what that something is when he tells us, like, if we don't know what it means just yet, know that he's going to speak to you. And so I was just reminded of that, how even me in like the past year, 2, 3, like, just recently, just in my life period, the past season of my life, I've not been at liberty to do my own thing. And granted, my own thing would probably be stupid. Like, in hindsight, looking back, like, the things that I would have preferred to do, or the ways or the methods that I would have taken to do certain things, it would have been just wrong. You know what I'm saying? But as I look back, and I was going through my journal and just looking at a lot of different things, and I saw where God was always speaking to me within the past few years. Like, he has not stopped speaking. He may have said some things I didn't like. He may have said some things I didn't understand. He may have said some things that made me uncomfortable. He may have said some things that revealed heart issues about me, but he was always speaking. And so I want you guys to know that as well, that the Father is always gonna speak to you and tell you something. He's always going to give direction. He is not going to give you an instruction. He is not going to have you start an assignment. He is not going to do anything and then just leave you out there to die. He is not going to leave you out there to just hang and dry. He is not going to leave you right in the middle of your assignment. He's not going to leave you right in the middle of your situation. He's not going to leave you right in the middle of your storm. He is not that kind of God. If he then pulled you out there, he's going to keep talking to you to lead you exactly where he needs you to be. And so even more practically, say, for instance, Or I'll just use myself. Even when it comes to like this podcast, God told me start the podcast, and I was like, all right. Of course, my first question, well, who gonna listen? And he didn't want me to worry about that. I said start the podcast. So that's what I did. And then just each time that I posted an episode, like when I first started, he was like, every day. So I posted every single day. And then he was like, nope, just make them like 5 minutes. So I did like 5-minute little episodes. And then he said, okay, now this one, I need it to be longer. I want you to really go into depth about this. Let this one be about 20 minutes. So that one will be about 20 minutes. I'll get on another day. Nope, about 15. And I do it for about 15 minutes. And so it's just like every single day, he is willing and he is ready to speak to you about what he has given you to do. When I was writing my book in the meantime, I didn't even want to write the book itself because I just felt like I felt inadequate to be writing the book because I felt like it gives so many instructions to single women. And I was just like, God, I'm not qualified to give instructions to single women because I'm still single. How can what I'm saying be proven true if I can't say, hey, this has already worked for me? Like, hey, I'm married, so do what I did. And God was like, I want you to go ahead and write the book. I want you to go ahead and write what I'm saying. And I want you to go ahead and release it. And that's that on that. And so like he just, with each word, with each chapter, he was telling me what to say and how to say it. And, you know, when to put some funny right there, or when to make sure this is very serious. And so even with that process of writing that book, he kept it very, very, very easy for me as long as I was willing to hear what he was saying. And so a lot of times we're struggling with doing certain things because we're thinking that we have to come up with these plans and with these strategies out of our own mind, out of our own strength. And we think we need to collab with this person and we need to link up with that person and we got to go sit down and do lunch with that person. And then we got to do this. And God is like, no. For the success that you want and for the success that I have intended for you, all you really need to do is listen to me. And so that's just kind of where my heart went when I read this verse. It's like, then the Lord said to Moses, and God's like, stop right there. I'm talking in this verse right here. I'm going to always talk to you. I'm going to always speak to you. I'm going to always give you direction. I'm going to always give you instruction. I'm going to always guide you. It's just a matter of if you're willing to open your ears and hear what he is saying. So to any of y'all, like, you know, like you've been thinking about writing a book, you've been thinking about starting any kind of business, starting a nonprofit, you've just been thinking about maybe even changing your career, you've been thinking about relocating, you've been thinking about pursuing a relationship. It can be scary, especially if you've been bruised before, but if you will just listen to God, he will give you your instruction. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to. One thing that I said is that we make relationships really hard. We make meeting new people really hard. We make it all so very hard because we feel like we have to do so much in order to make something work out. We have much. So we Facebook stalk. We do pull-ups, all that kind of stuff because we feel like we gotta make sure we know that we ain't being, you know, done in or anything like that. And that was definitely a thing of mine. But God really had me to understand, like, if you would just listen to me, then I'll tell you if this dude right for you. If you listen to me, I'll tell you if he telling you the truth. If you listen to me, I'll tell you if he lying. If you listen to me, I'll tell you that he at home sleep when he ain't answer your phone. But like, it's just like God, he really made it very practical to me in saying like, I'm going to talk to you. And if you listen to me, then you won't have to be doing all this extra stuff. You don't have to be steady running up on people, pulling up and trying to catch somebody slipping and doing stuff like that. Because if you open your ears and listen to the Father, he's going to tell you what is what. And then once you know what is what, then you have to move according to what he has said. If he say, hey, get out of there, then you need to be found getting out of there. If he say, no, I need you to block them, then you need to block them. If he says unblock them, you need to unblock them, because God is always going to direct us and tell us exactly what to do. You will not be caught off guard. You will not be caught by surprise when you listen to the Father, because he never have you out here looking silly. He just won't do it, you know? So that was, that's a very practical way to look at it. And even like, so you might not be pursuing a relationship with anybody, but if you're pursuing like a career change or relocating or starting a business or just anything that you're pursuing and you're afraid about it, you just have to understand that the Father is talking to you. He's willing to talk. He's willing to instruct. He's willing to direct, but you have to be willing to open your ears and hear what he is saying. For me, I know that I remember when we were getting ready to move, it was my two sisters and I were going to move to Columbia, and all I knew was I wanted to move. That's all I knew. And when my sister said, she had some options laid out, and I prayed about that. I prayed about the options. I was like, God, I just want to move. You know what I'm saying? And he then told me, where your sister go, follow her. And so that's what led me to Columbia. Like, her reasoning for coming to Columbia was completely different from mine. Mine was, I need to go. And God instructed me. He said, okay, where your sister goes, you follow her. And it led me to Columbia. And then even when she moved back to Arkansas, there was another moment for me to say, well, God, you told me to follow my sister. And then he said, I told you that in 2017, but your new instruction is to stay here in Columbia. And so even at the time of that transition, I had to stay in a place, and I was definitely afraid then, because my big sister was my, she was kind of my anchor, so I was like, okay, so now what? And then through that season, I saw that he wanted to develop me as a leader. He wanted to develop me as, my own woman who was able to hear him and move accordingly, by myself, not always contingent upon what my big sister would do or instruct me to do, or it's just easy to follow somebody else. But when God he'll separate you sometime so he can talk to you and see if you'll follow his plan for you. You know what I'm saying? So that was a situation. And even with my latest, all that drama where I lost my apartment, and everything, like when I say for about 2 months, every week something silly was going on. And the easy thing was to move home. And it's not that thought didn't seem appealing to me. You know what I'm saying? Because home is where the heart is, and home just feels good, and it's safe. But God had another instruction for me. And every time I opened my ear to him, he would tell me exactly what he would have me to do. And so the route and the plan, it may not be simple, it may not be easy, it may be frustrating, it may be taxing, but if you listen to the Father, you will not be left looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So this verse, it speaks volumes, and it's just a few words. But then the Lord said to Moses, and God just wanted me to say to you guys that he's going to tell you what to do. He's going to give you instruction. He's going to let you know what to do. Before you go to your homegirls, before you jump in your group chat, your cousin chat, before you even go to your parents, before you vent out to social media, before you do any of those things, I would advise you to sit and listen for the Father's voice, because he's going to give you instruction every time. After you have received instruction from him, now, because a lot of us won't be sure if we done heard the Father, we be thinking it's us, so I get that. I understand. So I'm saying that your first go-to is the Father. And then you can go to a trusted somebody who should then confirm what the Father has said. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's low-key another episode. But just listen for the Father, because he's going to tell you what to do. So, this weekend, as you go about your business and just listen to the Father. Listen for his voice. Listen, for what he is saying. When you hear him, you can't go wrong. And it doesn't mean that like you're going to be well liked by everybody when you do what, when you listen for what God tell you to do and then you do that thing, because you'll see as the story progresses that, the Lord is talking to Moses. Moses is listening to the Lord, but the Egyptians are still very hot on his trail. So just because you're listening to the Father, it doesn't mean that that's going to exempt you from trials, from tribulations, from storms, from difficulties, from, foolishness. Like, it doesn't mean that you'll be, that'll all just pass away because you're listening to God. But it means that you have a sure way. There's a sure direction. There is a sure escape when you listen to the Father. So, yeah. That's the episode for today. I hope that makes sense. I hope it resonates with you. Let me know, you can definitely, I don't know if I ever really mentioned this, but if any episodes, ever just resonate with you, or you got any questions about them and just like, okay, can you break that down to me a little more? Then you can always reach out to me, you can DM me on Instagram, my email address, itnt@brittneyReel.com. Just like hit me up, because I think that's what it's all about. This whole podcast, the whole everything I do, like I'm really at a point of understanding my purpose a little more. I think I've been in a season of, okay, I know it. I know my purpose, but now I've entered into a season of where I'm understanding it a little more. So God is really just allowing me to, I don't know, he's giving me this grace that I know I didn't have before. And that's talking to people. I'm just being honest. So anyway, but if you just need to talk to me, or, figure out, something, and just try to, I don't know, just hit me up. Like, it's cool. So yeah, that's what it is. Listen to the Father. Just listen to the Father. I got a big day ahead, a big weekend ahead. I'm super, 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 super excited. So y'all be praying for me this weekend. I'm so excited about this weekend. I maybe tell y'all about it Monday. Oh, well, I'll just tell y'all today. I'm moving into my new home. Praise Jesus. Yeah, anyway. So I'm just really excited. But yeah, I hope that y'all have a super bomb weekend. Also, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, go ahead and do that now at B.Reel. If you put REAL, you will not find me there. So go ahead and follow me. Also follow my In the Meantime page at _ITMT_. And if you have not joined the ITMT text message family, go ahead and just text ITMT to the number 31996, and that will get you plugged in to receiving text messages from me. In the meantime, just remember that you are loved, you are chosen, you are beautiful, you are enough, and I think you're kind of dope too. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.